All right, everyone. Welcome to this podcast called Unveiling. It's been a few weeks because we had programs internationally in Minneapolis and then some programs here in Boston. My name is Jordan Bain. My guest tonight is Divina Franca Lanyon from Toronto, Canada.
Hello.
And Divina Franca is a member of the Council of 12, and she's also a key leader of Modern Mystery School International. She's an international instructor, traveling the world and bringing inspiration and hope to everyone through the teachings of alchemy, Wicca, the healing arts, and much, much more. She is passionate about transformation and showing others that all things are possible through the magic and power of this lineage of King Solomon. So welcome on, Divina Franca.
Thank you, Jordan. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So tonight we're going to be talking about shamanism and Wicca. And, you know, I started my path with spiritual healing in general and spirituality through what I understood to be shamanic practices and magic when I was a teenager. And I think a lot of people start in that shamanic realm of working with energy and with consciousness and meditation. So I'd love to hear you talk about shamanism and what is shamanic magic?
Okay, well, thank you, first of all, for having me. And I'm excited to be here this evening. Just talking about magic and perhaps bringing some light to it and a little bit more understanding. So I'm going to try to keep things very simplified in simplified terms so we can all kind of relate to it at a foundational level. So shamanic magic, what is shamanic magic? Very much to what you said, Jordan, it is very much still alive within us, around us, in our lives. And so shamanic magic is an earthly, it's a magic of the earthly realm. It's a practice and a belief system that everything is alive. Everything has spirit. It is a magic where we honor nature and its cycles through the animals, humans, the moon, the sun, the elements. And it is a magic that has tradition to it. And this is why some of us are familiar with it. Some of us, like you said, when I first started here at the Modern Mystery School, I looked more at, or I was more involved with the shamanic magic of things. And that's because shamanic magic is around us all the time. And once upon a time, shamanic magic is the way people celebrated life. There was tradition, there was a purpose to everything they did, and there was an awareness of what was happening around them. So if we talk about, like the moon phases and the sun and phases just for ourselves in nature and humans and earth, it is something that's with us all the time. And for me, shamanic magic is about life. It's life, us living life, but being aware what is around us. It's not about what is this. Let me see if I can clarify. It's not about what does this tree mean or what does this leaf mean. It's more than that. It's believing that everything has spirit. Everything is alive. And how does it help us in our life? How does it help us every day? What does it mean through our cycles of life? What does it mean through the phases of the moon? What is it that we do during that time? So this is what shamanic magic is really knowing and being and feeling and using and understanding nature.
Yeah, absolutely. And maybe we should backpedal and talk a little bit about magic in general. How would you like to define magic for our audience? And I mean, we have different definitions of it in the mystery school, and I love all of them because they really help me take magic out of the woo-woo zone and into like practicality of what is it? What do you do with it?
Right.
How would you want to define it for the person who might be watching this, whether they're a mystery school initiate or whether they're someone who's just considering the mystery school or someone who found this, stumbles across it on YouTube 3 months from now?
Well, it's interesting that you asked me that, because taking the woo-woo out is what we need to do. because magic lays within everything that we do in our life.
Yeah.
And when we bring more awareness of what is happening on a daily basis, what is happening within us, because see, magic cannot exist without us. And magic really is the magic within ourselves. What is it that we have? And to manifest it, it comes from us. It doesn't, yes, we use the elements for it because it's an aspect of the energy that we need to bring in. Mm-hmm. Yes, when it's a belief system of many, many things. This is why magic really, I don't like it when it's I prefer it to not be called a religion, because it's not. Magic is something, it is a belief system where it entails many, many different things, many different gods, many different goddesses, the elements, earth, water, air, fire. How do we bring that into our life? I feel it is a tradition that we have lost a little bit. Mm-hmm. I think it is something that it would help us humans, us children of Earth, because it allows us to live and it allows us to understand, and it gives us the opportunity to manifest the life that we want to manifest. Mm. And when we practice that magic and when we have that belief system, we have something to go by. We have somewhere to go. We have a place where we can say, well, through this tradition, through this magic, through this experience that I've had, these are the things that I can accomplish in my life. Right. And this is, for myself, it is a tradition that I would love more for humans to bring back into their life.
Yeah. I mean, it's something we need to have in order to just have enjoyment.
Yes. And there's many levels of it. And to understand those levels is to bring yourself to it, bring knowledge to yourself, bring learning, experience, and understanding. So you can create and understand what actual magic is, because with magic, you have to work with it. You have to put your own energy into it. Mm-hmm. And with the shamanic magic, it is of nature. It is of Mother Earth. And Mother Earth is something that's with us every day.
Yeah.
Right? Just like Father Sky is. So that's, yeah.
Can you say more about that? Putting your own energy into it. I'm trying to think back. Sometimes I do this for these podcasts, to before ever was initiated. Mm-hmm. Before I had real training in energy, mm-hmm. and someone would say, let's hold the energy. And I'd be like, or put your energy into it. And I'd be like, right. I mean, my what? Like, is it Reiki energy? Am I visualizing white light? Or like, what do you mean how would you describe that as someone who's not even initiated, who doesn't have this language and these terms? Like, you got to put yourself or put your energy into it. Like, I'm not sure how. This isn't one of those preloaded questions where I'm like, oh, I know what Divina Franca is about to say. I'm like, how would you describe that to somebody?
Right. Well, myself, very much like you, holding energy. Yeah. What does that mean? Right. And some people don't understand or believe energy, even though it surrounds us every day. Mm-hmm. And that's okay. That is absolutely okay. It's just a journey of life, and bringing knowledge to yourself of trying to understand what is energy and what does it mean to hold energy. And for myself, if I were to go back to what it meant for me, well, I just had to get myself to a place where I wanted to make changes to my life. And I wanted to progress, and I wanted to learn more, and I wanted the tools where I can live a much more vibrant life. Mm-hmm. When I started to do that, then through that, I understood what energy was, what it can do, how it was with me all my life, what did it mean at certain times. And I can only understand that by having the experience.
Yeah.
And telling myself, this is what I want to do. I may not understand it, but please give me the training so I can understand it. So it is bringing experience to yourself, because if you don't have the self in this, magic, it is to progress the self.
Mm-hmm.
And that starts with you, and it starts with having the training for it, gaining the knowledge for it, and practicing.
Mm-hmm.
Practicing, because it's like a muscle, right? You have to practice the muscle to gain that experience, to understand, okay, maybe I should do this, but maybe I should not do this. And right, so you have to put yourself in it. So and when I say put yourself in it, it will help you understand more from a pure mind of how the magic is working, right? And I might be going ahead of myself, but this is where magic, or shamanic magic, since we're talking about shamanic magic, where it's been polluted and toxic. It's become really toxic throughout the years, because I believe a lot of people didn't gain the proper knowledge of what shamanic magic really is.
Yeah.
Right. And
before we go into that, can you give like some early examples? Because I totally want to talk about that, and that's essential, especially with shamanism. And then we'll go. We'll go there. Can you give some examples from your early times in the mystery school of using magic, whether it was shamanic magic or hermetic magic or Kabbalistic magic, or any of the magics that we use in the mystery school? And like, just what were some of your like personal experiences or stories early on in this work?
Just with any of the magic?
Yeah, any of the magic. So people can like sink their teeth into that and relate to it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, magic started with me since I was very young. But I never called it magic. And I never understood it to be magic. I only understood it to be, this is what we do. This is what I do. It was just part of something I did. And it came more from my mom, but she too didn't understand that it was magic. She just understood it to be a tradition that they did. It worked. It was fabulous. And this is part of our culture. But it was really, truthfully, magic. And in this case, something like shamanic magic in Wicca, it is something that I always did when I was younger, but never understood. And as I came on to this path, then I started to link, connecting the dots of, oh, wow, I've been actually doing this almost all my life. And now here I am. I actually found a place, a space that teaches this, that honors it, that doesn't make you feel that is weird, or it is, like you said, Jordan, woo-woo. It is something for me that I further indulged in and use it. I use it a lot. I'm always honoring the moon phases, the cycle of the year, because those things bring celebration, but it brings in an energy. And what is it? Like, for example, I might be, again, jumping ahead, but, in the magic of Wicca, we celebrate the cycle of the year. And those times of year are so powerful. And when we have an understanding of what it means, there are so many things that we can create in our own life for ourselves. So for me and my experiences, it started when I was a young child, and then I found a home for it when I became an adult. And since then, I've been practicing it, and I've been practicing through the tools that the Modern Mystery School gave me, the understanding and the training of it. So for me, it is something that I use every day, even though there's designated times to use certain magic. It is something that I use every day.
Very cool.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And to me, hopefully it makes sense to our audience. I think so.
Yes, I hope so.
It's something that I intrinsically get so much that I'm just like, yeah, totally.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, I don't know, maybe people do have questions about it.
Yeah.
A lot
Sorry
of
for
people
not keeping
watch
it
these.
simple.
You can
Right.
type them in the comment box, but there's only like 25, 30, 50 people watching these at any given time. So,
Right.
a lot of people are watching it later, and hopefully we talked a little bit about that. So.
Right. Well, magic is life. And when we have magic in our life, it's living life alive.
Mm-hmm.
And not all things work the same for all people. But it doesn't mean that magic doesn't exist. It doesn't mean us honoring what nature means doesn't exist. It does exist. It might just exist differently for each of us, but it is there, right? So it's living that, especially the shamanic magic. And I love, Jordan, we all love magic because it allows us to live life alive.
Yeah, like full participation in life.
Yes, full participation in life. Not just what we have in here. And for people out there, if you want to get out of the box, you don't really want to follow what mom, dad have taught you, or you want to explore life, explore the pureness of magic. And I say pureness because we have to be careful of where we go for it, because unfortunately it has been polluted.
Let's dig into that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Say more.
Yeah, it has been polluted. And magic, unfortunately, throughout the years, something like the Wiccan magic as well, it comes with just so much. Unfortunately, this is a part for me where it's like, oh, I wish I can really clean it up and talk to everybody about this, because magic is, in our lineage, for us, it is about positivity. It's about working with the light. It's about bringing joy and celebration to life and abundance. It's about manifesting the life that you want.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So, but unfortunately, some people have become really skeptical about it because the pollution. And I find it's the pollution that came from people, humans, whoever, that didn't have enough knowledge, that didn't agree, that doesn't agree with magic, because like you said, it's woo-woo. Again, that didn't have the knowledge to understand what is it exactly. People have become scared of it because they found it to be something where you're taking into another place out of your own control, by unseen energies. So there's so much to it. But for us, I want to be very clear in our lineage within the Modern Mystery School. We have magic, and we use magic for the light. And we also use magic for self-progression. It is part of our progression. Magic is part of our progression. And it gives us opportunity to explore life differently than just the box. And I think it gives us connection. And I feel for many of us, we have lost connection. I don't want to talk about the last year or so because of COVID and whatnot, pandemic. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm just talking about us humans and ourselves as humans, as the self, just having a connection, having a practice that we do, a belief system that we have, tradition, because tradition is so important, right? So really be careful with what you read out there, and use. Everybody needs to use their own discernments. But at the same time, I like to say that magic is something that is a part of our life, and it is something to create good, to create light, and you're working with the light for the light.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
right.
Let's something that we when we went back and forth before the show, that is so essential in what we teach is lineage. Let's dig into that a little bit. Why is lineage so essential in magic? Because I think this has a lot to do with cleaning magic up in terms of people's concepts as well as practice, in terms of what we teach and hand down in the mystery school.
So lineage, I know I like to call lineage like the old cookbook, if I may explain it in that way. So the old cookbook in the family. And so the great grandmother had this cookbook, and it had all the famous recipes in it and all the famous baked goods in it. And over time, that cookbook was handed down through the family lineage. And when you get that book from that great grandmother and compare it to maybe a recipe that is on Pinterest or that is in a bookstore, it is completely different. Because that cookbook, we know it's holding a certain kind of energy. It is holding a pureness to it. It is holding a tradition. It is coming from a family lineage that has been used and used again and passed down and handed down again. And there's integrity to it and respect to it. And there's an honorability to it. There's legitimacy to it. And when we have lineage, it gives us that experience. And it's something for lineage in modern mystery school. It is something that has over 30,000 years of experience behind it, of tradition behind it, of teaching and knowledge behind it. And from where it came from to where it is right now. And it is something that is handed down from teacher to student, from teacher to student, from teacher to student. And in back in ancient days, it was the teacher just speaking to the student, nothing else around. It was just a conversation. It's like the old man and the little boy sitting on the bench talking about stories, right? So lineage to me, it has a pureness to it. And it has that loyalty, that legitimacy, that right, and that stability to it. And we know this when with the tools that we have received through the modern mystery school, because of its lineage, because of its tradition, it works. It works. And it's been with us for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. And because of that energy behind it, that is constantly being anchored through the times, right? So lineage gives it purity. It is not something that, hey, I woke up this morning and this is what I think we should do. And it is a great teaching and I'm just going to hand it down to you because I said so. Right. That's not really lineage. That is something that I thought of, but where did it come from? When it came to me, where did it come from? Did it come from my ego? Did it come from something that this is the way I think it should be? But tradition and lineage is different. Right. It hasn't been tested if it's just something you woke up with or the message that you channeled today from Archangel Michael or. Yes. Yeah. And this is what I love about the modern mystery school, because our magics are included in that. It's included in all the tools that we have. It's included in that lineage. It's included in that tradition. And like you said, it's been practiced. It's been used. It's been handed down through thousands and thousands and thousands of years, and it's worked. Yeah, absolutely. Right. And in terms of, cleaning up magic, lineage also has a way that it connects us to the tradition. It connects us to the past. It connects us to
all those who have come before us in this
Yes.
specific school, or in whatever lineage we're talking about. But here we're talking about obviously our lineage of the Modern Mystery School. And there's a way that the Modern Mystery School lineage, of course, also really connects us to spiritual beings and essences as well, beyond just the physical, and allows us to access and bring through light with this word that I didn't really understand probably for many years into doing this work, which is authority. The concept of spiritual authority, when I first heard it, I thought, well, these are just a bunch of jerks who think that they have some authority over me. Or what do they mean authority? Like, whose authority? And where does authority come from? And how does that play into this? But, the spiritual authority we have in the school is a very difficult thing to describe in its essence. And yet what it means is that the things we do work.
Right.
They work every time because we are authorized to, through some kind of it's a mystery school, so I guess we can just say it's mysterious. We're somehow mysteriously authorized to do this work through lineage.
Yes, we are, because there's a piece to this. What's our purpose? All of us humans have purpose. And yes, it is something mysterious, as you're saying, Jordan, but when you're in the mystery school and when you're receiving tools and knowledge and training, all of that brings you closer to understanding who you are. And the more you understand of who you are, the more you're progressing, the more you're elevating yourself, the more you're understanding how is it that I operate on a daily basis. What do I do? How do I move? What do I think? And so that authority, once we are progressing and we have the training and we practice and we train and we practice and train and we practice, we do get we shift. We start to shift. We start to believe new things. We start to see ourselves, our own self, in a different light.
Right.
And that there begins to give us authority. But with that authority, we have responsibility.
Right.
And through that progression, we start to learn, what does that responsibility mean? Because we really start to understand energy, its cause and effects of it.
Yeah. Yeah. When we know ourselves and we know energy, we do that. There's a whole positive feedback loop there.
Yes.
With how we wield that energy, how we wield that authority. Someone here in the comments is asking, how is Mystery School Wicca different from, say, Scott Cunningham's work, Gardnerian Wicca, or Raymond Buckland's work?
Well,
and that's something we could address right now, or maybe we can talk about some of the where the Wicca lineage comes from in the school first, and then maybe weave those things together. It's really up to you.
Well, we actually use Scott Cunningham for a lot of the Wicca work we do within the school. Right. So and to go a little bit further than the question, Wicca in throughout many years, and it's the, I guess, the traditions, and in all the years that Wicca has been out, everybody has gone about it differently. Everybody has used it differently. And for us within the school, we have everybody united in Wicca, and that means men and women. And in past times, we used to have traditions where it was known for the magic for only women. So it was more like a women's circle, and they were the ones that were operating with the herbs and doing the magic and working with the elements and the phases of the moon and the different cycles of the year. But for us, it is a shamanic magic, because Wicca is shamanic, where we bring both together. We bring both male and female together. And yes, there's a way that we do it, but it does incorporate both. Because when we celebrate the gods and the goddesses, in the wheel of the year or on the days of celebration, we celebrate both the union of male and female. Right. So we have a different way of doing things. We use Scott Cunningham, right? We use, it is a reference that we have people going to. What is different about it is its lineage. It is, we received, I say we because there's myself and Christina Lozano that are the plate holders for Wicca. We received our training from Founder Goodney that handed the traditions of the Wicca lineage to us through the Modern Mystery School and the traditions that he learned, which also goes many years back with other traditions that were handed down to him. So how's it different? Well, just in the way that we do things, the way that it's handed down, the way that we incorporate things, the teachings that we have on the elements. And me, I find that from a lot of the readings that I've done and knowing of a lot of the lineages and other things that used to be around in the ancient days, for us, it was different because we had both men and women involved in the circle of celebration. And that was a key. That's a key, I believe, is a key thing for us.
Interesting. Why are some people, do you think, scared of the concept and practice of magic, whether it's Wiccan magic or other types of rituals? What do you feel is out in the collective consciousness that, scares people from doing Wicca or doing shamanic magic or doing any kind of magic? When they hear the word magic, maybe they have a negative reaction to that.
Yeah, I think because the word magic in of itself has been misused and misunderstood. And again, it goes back to that pollution. And I think it comes from a lot of what's out there on social media, a lot of what has been portrayed in the past in movies, and forgetting that it's a movie, it's not real life, it's not how we really do things. So it was misused and misunderstood. And I think also it is like Wicca and shamanic magic, it is something that was polluted and it was used in a negative way. And this is where I think people became very scared of it, became very scared of what magic is, or practices or belief systems. And then this is where you get, it's woo-woo, it's the crazy stuff, it's the weird stuff, it's the things that you believe in, or all these kind of things. So I think it came from more of the misuse of it, and therefore there was a misunderstanding of it. And when I say misuse, it means it wasn't used for good.
Yeah,
it was good. It was used in light of other purposes, not to manifest goodness out of it, or good self-progression, positive self-progression.
it's
right?
pretty simple.
It is, but I think we've complicated it.
Yeah.
And I think we've polluted it way too much. And I just hope and wish for people to be careful of what you read, be careful of what others are telling you, because other people's bad experience doesn't mean it's going to be your experience. So really discern in the information of where it's coming from and who is giving it to you. Right.
I think it's really important to talk about magic, and there's, I love how you're just saying it straight. It's just people have used magic for not good things.
Yes.
Therefore, we have people do bad things with it. We have bad associations with it.
Yeah, and it's right, and it's unfortunate because it can be a very powerful thing if you use it in the right way, and if you use it in the light, it is extremely powerful to oneself. It's extremely powerful for just life, and how us humans actually live life. It is so powerful what we can do with it if we use it properly and for good things.
Yeah, I was talking to a client today and using the example of like a laser. You can use lasers for amazing technological and medical things, or you can use it to blow up planes.
Right.
And kill things and destroy things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it sits along the line with many things in our life that are good, but have been portrayed to be very bad. But really, we have to look at it as a whole and say, no, this can be used in good light, right? It can be used to manifest. It can be used for positivity, for the good.
Absolutely. Yeah. What would you say to either new or existing students of shamanism to guide and encourage like their exploration of nature, their exploration of magic, their exploration of the elements, the earth? What would you offer to those people?
Yeah. So for those that have done it, so that received a little bit of training, that have been, taught by myself or by Christina or by Founder Goodney or one of the third order members in our lineage. So for those of you that have had training in this, especially in Wicca, okay, use the tools because they work. If you're trying to change your life, if you're trying to bring something into your life, if you're trying to maybe get clarity, maybe just shift, use the tools. Don't just leave it on the shelf or in your toolbox. Okay, it is important that you use it because it is a part of your progression. So shamanic magic, Wicca, it is a part of our lineage. It is a part of our progression. For those of you that are interested in it, then that's where I say try to find a practitioner that will help you come into it and learn more about it and how and to give you the guidance of how you can dive deeper into the understanding of this magic. So, and also just again, discern what you're reading, discern what it is that you are filling your mind with of what exactly it is. Right.
Yeah.
Right. So,
can you help me, and not me so much, but I'm always have stuff to learn. Can you help both me and like people watching this podcast understand better what are the four elements? Like what is the essence of the four elements, and like help us like dive into the understanding of why we have four elements. What do we do with these elements? Why are they so essential to magic? Like they're everywhere. And for years when I started on this path and other spiritual paths, I was like, why, what are the elements? I didn't really understand. Obviously I understood earth, water, air, fire. Great. Boom. That's what we have, elements, but they're so deep and they're so essential to so many forms of magic. So love to hear from someone like you. Go into that more.
Okay. So I'm going to try to really simplify it and not go so deep into it where you don't understand. The audience is not understanding what I'm talking about. So yes, foundational. We talk about the earth, the elements of earth, water, air, fire, and we also have spirit in there. So for example, when we are talking about something like earth, what does earth mean? What does it mean? So it means grounding. It means manifestation. Okay. So I'm keeping it very, very simple. And a lot of people, then there's, I'm not going to jump ahead. I promise, Jordan. Then there's air. Well, what is air, right? It is spirit. It is things such as essential oils. It is clarity. It is the intelligence, right? It is the mind. That's air, and then there's fire. And fire, I love talking about fire because fire is passion, right? It is passion. It is to create. It is that love. that's fire. And then there's water, and water is emotions. And so how does the emotions in our life, how are they flowing in our life? It's also about the water, about the cleansing. It's about the purity, right? So then we look at it all and we say, okay, well, for example, I don't really relate to earth. I'm not we hear this a lot. I don't really relate to earth. I'm not a really stable person. I love to be like, I'm kind of airy, right?
Mm-hmm.
People say, oh, I'm kind of airy. And yes, there can be a little bit of truthness to that. They feel airy. Well, then what is that? A person that is airy, what would you love to do? I can't anchor things here. I have problems doing this, and I have problems with that, and I can't quite grasp this. And when I do, I can't quite hold on to it. Well, great. Then what we say is, well, you need a little bit more of earth. You need a little bit more stability. You need to bring that in more. And when we say that, without going into a big, huge teaching, because I'm just giving an example, then we teach that person that feels that way, that has all these amazing ideas, all this amazing creativity, but yet they can't anchor it here in their own life. Then we would say something like, well, then you need to bring in more of earth energy. What is that earth energy? Well, that's more of stability. Well, how do you bring in the stability? And then we start to explain, well, let's work with some herbs for you. Let's give you a meditation where you can focus on earth. And us as humans, right? Does that make sense, Jordan?
Yeah.
I'm
balancing.
I'm kind of giving a little crash course on it. Yeah. And as us humans, we hold within those elements within our being. Earth, water, air, fire, right? We hold it within us. So this is why we can relate to it, even though we may feel we don't understand it or quite get it, right? So when we talk about the elements, then this is what we mean. This is how it can help us. This is the magic. This is the magic. Coming into awareness, what are these things? Because you're made up of them.
Right.
So, right. And in Wicca, we teach this. We work a lot with the elements. We actually have a whole teaching, a whole series on it, and how it can help you work with each of these elements. Mm-hmm. So when a person is having difficulty in their life, it is also through the elements that they can figure out what is exactly missing. And that is the power of it. That is the power of that magic alone. And when you bring awareness to it, then so much can change. So much can change.
Yeah, absolutely. Beautiful. Well, we're getting really close to the end of our time here. Is there anything else that you want to share or just put out there about Wicca or shamanism?
Well, some last quick words. Yes. Go for it. Take the leap to make a shift and a change in your life. Because even though you may think that you don't have any choice, you do, because we have magic. And it's magic that works. It is magic that will allow you to live life alive. And through our lineage, it is a lineage of light. And it is a lineage of service. And it is a lineage to bring peace on earth. And within that, there is magic to it. So for anyone that wants to evolve and progress and make changes, is to indulge yourself in knowledge of what magic can bring to you.
Awesome.
So thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Divina Franca.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you everyone who watched tonight and who watches this afterwards. I know we usually have a relatively small number of people on compared to the people who watch this over the next few months. So if you have things that you want to share, reach out to myself or Divina Franca on my website or on the Modern Mystery School International website. Yeah. And if you like this show, subscribe to us on YouTube. That's the easiest way to share it with other people, rather than, it kind of gets a little bit buried on Facebook, but these all go on a playlist on YouTube. So please subscribe. And thank you guys all for watching. Have a wonderful night. Thank you again. Take care.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Jordan.